next couple weeks. I think before Halloween.
You tip his hand at all, or just we'll talk to him?
Yeah, you know how he is. Listen, it doesn't matter what he says or what he wants to do. Hughes is going to be with us forever, and you know, whether he talks me into doing that one more time, which I'd prefer he didn't. I'd rather he didn't. I'd really like to see him retire. I get to this point with these guys, him, Chuck Liddell, these guys who dominated all these years and were such a big part of us growing. What's next? Matt Hughes, believe me when I tell you, does not need money. Okay, he's set. He doesn't ever need to work again. He doesn't ever need to fight again. He's got plenty of money, and I just. You're one of the greatest welterweights ever. You know, now that George St. Pierre has done what he's done, you know, it's arguable over who, you know, we'll see how he ends his career. But, you know, what's the point? What, you're going to go for another title run? You just lost. You lost by knockout. Let's just hang this thing up and do something else together.
Is he the kind of guy that can kind of force your hand, though, and say, hey, I want one more, man. I've done it for you.
He is the worst. The worst. When I go in and give bonuses to all the fighters at the end, he's always negotiating in there for everybody. On The Ultimate Fighter, he was always arguing with me for more money for the guys and all this stuff. He is the worst. So, yes, if he wants to keep fighting, it's not going to be a fun conversation. He's going to be negotiating and busting my balls and everything else. But, you know, I would love to see him just hang it up now and, you know, we'll do something else together. He doesn't need to fight anymore. It's just... I don't want to see it anymore.
Sure. In Denver, you said Showtime was up against their deadline, that it was about time for them to make a call.
And just so you know, he looked good in that fight, too.
He looked great in the first part of the first round.
He looked really good.
Yeah.
Till 4:59 of the first round. But he looked good in that first round. So it's always tough to talk to a guy if he came out and looked horrible. But there's also a thing when guys are getting knocked out time and time again. And plus, as much as we don't want to deal with it when you start to get old, man, it's just, this is a young man's game. So... Anyway, Showtime, right? Yeah,
in Denver you said that they were up against their deadline as far as making a decision past 2011. Is there any update on that situation and where they stand?
Yeah, I mean, their deadline is now. And I know Lorenzo was in New York yesterday, and, you know, he met with them, so.
Any idea how it went down?
I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it. You know, I'm not involved in that thing, so, you know, I actually have a call with Lorenzo right after this press conference about it, so I'll know then.
We'll touch base. Yeah, we'll hang out.
Yeah, you guys want to hang out? And
we'll pull a Caesar Gracie.
Do it right here.
Yeah, we'll pull a Caesar Gracie with him.
Do it right here. Put him on speaker.
Have you spoke to Nick Diaz?
Huh?
Have you spoke to Nick Diaz?
No, we haven't talked. Well, yeah, I saw him in D.C., right? Was it D.C.? No,
Denver.
Denver, I saw him, yeah.
Okay.
Can't keep him straight. I saw him in Denver. He was there for his brother's fight. He's good. Seems...
It's going to be a good fight.
Seems on track. It's going to be a great fight. I actually really like that fight.
It's kind of changing towards that fight. Is that for a number one contendership for GSP's belt?
Yeah, I mean, I think...
It's tough with BJ.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where we were just talking about if Chael or Stan should win.
Right, yeah.
This is different. I mean, I don't know how many people are clamoring to see BJ versus GSP again.
Right.
But if Nick should win, I think that's a fight that people want to see. And, you know... I think we got over the hurdles here, and we can try to figure this thing out and get this kid going. You know, I mean, he could show up and be Gray Maynard at the press conference. Right. I mean, I think Gray Maynard said 4 words in 10 questions today. So do that. Just show up and go, yeah, I like it. Yeah. Granny Camp was good. Yeah. Yeah, Randy Couture is the last champ.
You mentioned bringing Gilbert Melendez and Mauricio Verdum over. Do you have any matchups for them yet?
Well, if we bring Gilbert over, I mean, Gilbert could go right in, get a title shot once this thing is put to rest. Yeah, it makes sense.
Melvin Gillard.
And it's all timing. I mean, we have to see what happens. I mean, after this fight, hopefully these guys don't get hurt. You know, you just never know. There's so many other factors, and if that's the case, then a guy like Gilbert comes over here and we give him a tune-up fight, which probably isn't a bad. The thing is, even a guy like Gilbert coming over, you guys have seen it for 10 years. I don't care how dominant or how great a guy is. The first time they fight in the UFC, man, it's crazy. You know, it's happened to everybody. Jake Shields. Carlos Condit when he first came over here and fought, and the list goes on and on of great fighters who've dominated in other places. They get a little knock-kneed when they come and fight in the UFC the first time.
Why do you think that is? Because, like, you know, Nogueira fought in Japan in front of, like, 90,000 people fighting Bob Sapp, but then he comes here and he had that
just so
rough fight
different
against
now.
Ether.
When you come in here for the first time, man, and depending where we are, whether it's, you know, we're in Washington, D.C. with 85, 9,000 people, whatever we had there for that fight night, or you come into one of the big ones with 22,000 people, the energy inside this arena, the pressure of being in the UFC, it's a lot. It's a lot on the guy, and I've seen it happen over and over and over again. It gets in guys' heads, and you know that nervous energy or whatever you want to call it takes a lot out of them. But then after you get a couple under your belt, and they snap right back into, you know, into form and usually come out and perform.
You mentioned Jake Shields. Does he want to continue at 170, or has he not even thought about?
I called Jake after the last press conference. The press reminded me that I haven't talked to Jake Shields yet, and I gave him a call too. And he hasn't called me back yet. You know, I left him a message and said, just checking up on you, seeing how you're doing. Give me a buzz when you get time. And he hasn't called me back yet. So I'm going to give him his time to, you know, he just lost his dad. He just lost a fight right after it. So I'm sure he's going through some stuff right now. So I'm going to let him take his time and call me when he's ready.
And did Nate Diaz come out of that last fight pretty unscathed? Is he going to fight against
He
him?
looked awesome, man. I think it's the best he's ever looked, and yeah, I'm excited to see